Ladies and gentlemen,
this is Gamertag Radio.
All right, so welcome to a brand new episode of Gamertag Radio. This is Manuel-Peña, and also joining me, Riana Manuel-Peña. What's up, Riana?
What's up? Good morning. We're very excited to have this conversation about a game I haven't really played yet.
You have lots of questions.
Lots of questions, yes.
But we also have a special guest here. You would like to introduce yourself?
I would like to introduce myself. I can't even talk. It's very early. I will say I have too much energy for it being this early for me. Hi, I'm Brittney. I am Brittney Brombacher, also known as Brittney Brombacher. That is me.
Are you still consider yourself as the blonde nerd?
I mean, technically it's correct, right? Like, I'm blonde and I'm a nerd. Yeah. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm still still reviewing games and stuff. So if you want to call me by that, cool. I'll call you Godfrey from now on if you want.
I mean, if you want, it's up to you. No. People don't call me that anymore, but it's okay.
I'll call Riana Tweets. Or is it still Riana Tweets now?
It's no. I've rebranded.
It's Riana MP.
MP. Yeah, Riana MP. Yeah.
It was too hard to keep up with all the different platform names when they start changing, and we're like, okay, I give up.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to keep up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, so for this episode, it's gonna be a special one because Brittney and I, we've been going back and forth text-wise, and we are gonna be reviewing Exhibition 33. What's the full name? Is it Exhibition 33?
Clear Obscur.
Clear Obscur Exhibition 33. It's an RPG game. I can't remember the name of the studio that worked on this. Is it
Sandfall and Kepler?
Kepler. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I know we've been hearing about this game for a while, and for me, it reminded me of like Lost Odyssey, Final Fantasy, maybe a little bit of Persona in there, right? But this is a French company, a French studio that worked on this. It was really cool seeing their videos of like behind the scenes, working with the voice actors and everything, which they have a lot of voice actors in this one, man. That's really cool. I mean, well-known actors too. Talent. Yeah. So, Brittney, what was it that stood out to you about this game before you got to play it?
I'm trying to think of when this was revealed. Was it at the Game Awards or was
I think it was Xbox Game Showcase.
Wherever it was revealed, I remember just seeing the trailer, thinking the combat looked super amazing and fun and different, and just the premise of the fact that you had this paintress who every year writes a number on the monolith, and then everyone who is that age dies, and she's slowly counting down. So that's why we're on Expedition 33. The number on the monolith is now 33, right? And I'm like, what an interesting idea for a game. And then ever since then, I've kind of gone, I've tried to avoid anything about it. And so when it was time to review it, and I tried to preview it, but I couldn't because I had some family stuff going on. But then when it came to review it, I was like, hell yeah. So I've been going into this thing with not knowing a heck of a lot about it. And it is living up to every expectation I had. I love this game so much, and that's why I texted you guys. I was like, are you guys reviewing this? Because you should, because it's so good. And it's so unique. It's like a breath of fresh air. And I don't want to go off too much right now because I know we're just kind of doing our initial thoughts. But for me, it was the combat. It was obviously when you see that kind of voice talent in a game, I'm like, okay, well, that's a little attractive. The story idea, the setting looked beautiful. I also kind of got those Final Fantasy vibes. And then as you dive into the combat, there's a bunch of little pieces it feels like a whole bunch of different games and kind of mashed into one. The combat is probably some of my favorite combat in games. I love it. So I will stop there and let you continue. But
no, I totally agree. The combat is just simply amazing. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But Riana, what about you? What was it that stood out to you about this game before you got to check it out?
Yeah, when we first saw Clear Obscur Exhibition 33 at Xbox Game Showcase, I want to say 2024, does that sound right? I was initially drawn to the story like you, Britt. I thought it was just really interesting that, there's this sort of ticking clock counting down everybody's lives, and you're not sure why it's happening. The people who are fighting against it aren't sure why it's happening, and they just keep sending out these expedition parties to try to figure out what's going on or maybe stop it from happening. And that premise alone really just hooked me. I really liked the vibe of it, and I don't gravitate towards this type of combat. I don't gravitate towards turn-based games or this type of action, mixed between action and turn-based. But I saw enough of it, and it reminded me enough of Persona, which has, piqued my interest before, that I was like, let me give this a try, because it's a very different look and feel from Persona. And the cast really did intrigue me too. Like we saw Charlie Cox, which is, obviously very popular right now because Daredevil Born Again is a show that we're all watching. And there's also some other really recognizable names like friend of the show, Ben Starr. Shout out to Ben, who's killing it this year. And Andy Serkis. So you're sitting there like this triple A talent and this really interesting game coming from a new studio, a rather small studio, but it looks super, super polished. And I just wanted to know more because narrative is one of the things that attract me the most to games. Unique experiences attract me a lot, and games that respect my time, which we will get into. But yeah, I was just really intrigued by the premise and the talent that was attracted to this experience.
All right, so one of the things I first thing I have to mention that I started playing the game and I was like having a challenge beating some of the bosses in the game. So, and plus because of time too, I decreased the game difficulty, right? So I'm thinking, oh, okay, this is gonna be fine, easy. No, it wasn't easy at all. I'm still struggling. There was one boss, took me 2 days to figure it out. I was like, this thing is extremely tough. So, but I'm playing pretty good. I know, depending on your difficulty, if you have it on like an easy, there's no need to parry or do certain things in there in the part of the game mechanics. Yeah, but I changed it back to normal, and it is really, really tough. But it's a lot of fun. I've been having a great time playing it, So, I know people are going to be asking, can you still play this on a Steam Deck? No, you can't play this on Steam Deck. Strictly console and PC only. But yeah, overall, I'm having a great time. It was just, at first, it was just hard for me to figure out like how to beat certain bosses and stuff. So it was more of like getting used to, because I'm used to the traditional RPGs type game mechanics. This is totally different compared to the other ones. So
I will say this game definitely encourages you to go back to certain areas, because you will come across a boss when you're maybe like 5 hours in that will deal 2,000 damage to you and wipe you out instantly. And you're like, oh my God, it's very humbling. And I will say, when you do get wrecked in a fight, it's not punishing. There's just really good auto checkpoints, and they'll usually just bring you right back to where you were. So like that's very good. But that's interesting about the parrying, because to me that is some of the most fun about
100%.
The combat in this. Is so you have these ultimately, a handful is what I'll say of different parry options, right? Or dodge. You can dodge, which is easier than parrying, because when you successfully parry and you get that timing just right, you'll do a counterattack. Sometimes you have to jump. Sometimes there's even another thing you have to do. But if you want to successfully pull those off, you have to hit every attack that the boss deals you, or the regular enemy, right? And sometimes they do 4 different combos. So you have to really watch the timing, and that makes it so engaging and so fun. And so Danny and I think, are playing differently. I am roughly 30 hours in, about 50% of the way through the game. I have been doing every exploration thing I can do. And I think, Danny, you're more mainlining the story, right?
A mix of both. Okay. So, yeah, so like if I feel like, I think it's time for me to level up my characters, let me just go out there and just explore. So I'll do that. Sometimes I don't want to do that, and I just go straight to continue the main campaign. The thing that I don't know yet, because I haven't completed the game yet, is can I complete the game and go back and explore again and continue with my characters? I don't know if you could do that, because I haven't got there yet, Oh, yeah, but I have like about 20 hours or so. But I know you mentioned about parrying. There might be like 4 times you have to do that. There's going to be some bosses in the future. There might be like 8 at the same time. Like it's like back, ba, 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 like back and forth. So good. And Ree, she came to my office to see me play, and she was like, "Oh my God, this thing is hard." I'm like, "Yeah, it's really, really tough." But I'm really good at memorizing, and also what is important, play with headphones or have your speakers loud, because the sound also helps you to parry like at the right time.
It helps you. Yeah, you get that pattern recognition down. And you're like, okay, I know when this beat is coming, parry. And there's certain things you can look at. Also, what's so cool about the combat also is you have this really interactive dodge parry system, which just makes every encounter feel intense. And the game can be very difficult, like Danny was saying. It all just depends on your play style. Like, if I find a really good grinding spot, I'm there for at least an hour, and I feel like I'm a little OP now. It's like that Dragon Ball Z gif where Goku flicks somebody and they just go flying. That's what I feel like right now, which is so nice. But still, even some of those bosses in the beginning area will still whip my ass. So it's really interesting how you do have to go back. Anywho, so you have like these different dodge and parry options, and then every character you play handles differently in terms of their attack style, right? So you have someone who deals cards, and I'm just going to keep this super vague so you can discover it for yourself, and the amount of cards that they deal can influence the amount of damage they do, right? You have another character that can turn into other characters, or enemies rather. So everyone just controls so differently, and then you have this super customizable. Are they called Pictos, Danny? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Those are like perks. And you can
mix and match them however you want. I mean, there are, I don't know, I feel like 30 to 50 maybe at this point. How many I have? There's tons. And basically, you have a set amount of points that you can assign to these things. So if you need a certain build for a battle, you can do that. You can have favorites. You can give your character more points by finding items across the map. Oh my God. It's probably actually one of my top favorite combat systems ever.
I think so too.
Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the combat looks good just in like the reveal trailer we saw, but man, it's like actually living up to the expectations, which is sick.
Yeah. Riana, you were going to say something?
No, I'm just taking it all in from Britt's initial breakdown, because I have questions and I don't want to ask anything that's super obvious or spoilery, because obviously we don't want to ruin this incredible story that they've crafted. But for context, I played the demo, so I played about 2-ish hours, maybe a little more, and got to one boss encounter. Almost took the boss out on easy mode, but did not. It took me 3 tries, and it's funny because we were at an Xbox preview event, and I had Colby from PR for the game. I had Blessing Adeoye Jr. from Kind of Funny, and I had Stella Chung all behind me, rooting me on. Like, they were all like cheering for me, like, you can do it, one more try. And I'm like, you guys, I can't. I don't have it in me. Oh no! So we were all trying to like battle them. This really hard boss with lots of ads, and I was struggling a little bit with the upgrade system, because I had, of course, explored as much as I could during a demo, in a public setting. I didn't have unlimited time. I didn't want to be rude. I had to move off the station at some point. But I know there are Pictos, and there's also Lumina abilities, which can, be applied to different characters, and like there's different weaknesses to different fire types, or, you have electricity, you have fire, you have ice, or what have you. And once you learn which enemies are weak to different types, in the sort of classic style, you're a little bit more effective in battle. But this boss just had my number. I couldn't do it. And I'm just wondering if, and again, I know that there are some spoilers around which characters you get to get and win and all that stuff, so please don't answer it if you can't. But I'm just wondering, is there any like cheat code party that you could put together, or like a really strong lineup for different areas? Because I'm thinking back to Elden Ring, where, of course, there are certain specs that you can lead with to make things easier, or to make things a little bit less challenging, because the difficulty doesn't have a slider. Mm-hmm. Is there something like that in this game? Because I personally really want to play it, but I also, as a gamer who doesn't have a lot of time, or really needs to be picky with their gaming time, I don't want to be beating my head against a wall if I'm just trying to get through it, even on easy mode.
Yeah, from my side, and Brittney, you tell me if I'm right or not, but the perks helps out a lot, because I always like to start with being the first person to attack the enemy. One is I want to see how the enemy looks, because for me, depending what type of enemy it is, it will give me a hint on what type of spell or attacks I could do that is going to damage them even more. Some I can't figure it out. I have to just randomly just select different things and attack them, and I'll see, it will say critical or whatever, like a critical hit, right? So that's one. Also, I think it is important, depending on the characters that you have as like your first group to attack. So like, Brittney, I know you mentioned one of the characters. I'm not going to mention the name because I want people to hear this. But like, I have that character being there because I feel like that character is really good at defense, blocking, right? And I also have other characters that maybe they have heal powers that will help me to heal my team, right? So, and another thing that I noticed, and Brittney, you tell me if this is correct or not. Sometimes I will notice that if I use a spell, it will show like this glitter circle around the spell. Like sometimes it will pop up. So I think it's like if you use that spell and you attack the enemy using that, it will create more damage based on that. It randomly changes in different locations. I don't know if this is based on the cards or what, but it's been helping me a lot.
I will say there's a lot of moving pieces to this game, especially in the combat. And even 30 hours in, I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything. So I was writing down like all these tips. I'm like, oh yeah, I have tips. Okay, so the first thing is if you've played Metaphor, you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, I will tell you. When you're on the map, when you're about to attack enemies, I'm playing on a PS5 Pro. If you push R1, you throw like a little glitter bomb thing, and that will give you first strike, right? So obviously, like that's key number one. Key number two is like while you're in combat, you're gonna have free aim with your. Is it like a pistol? It's like a magic pistol. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah,
everybody
has a range.
I forgot about that.
This is really, again, this combat is just so good. When you're fighting different enemies, they're going to have like little glitter. Some of them will have little glowy areas, little things floating around them, and you can shoot those. And it does take up one of your action points. And every turn you get more action points, right? And if you hit that properly, you'll either do a crit or you'll deal break damage to them, which will essentially like render them stunned for a bit, or maybe it'll prevent them from doing a major attack. So experiment with that a little bit. Obviously, Danny mentioned like the strengths and the weaknesses with elements. And when you are doing the combat as well, like make sure like when you have the perfect timing, because if you get the perfect timing, you'll do better. But I think the main thing that you're going to want to experiment with is those skills you were talking about, Ree, because if let's say you have someone who can make everyone catch on fire, right? And if you have another person in your group and it's like, okay, this person, if someone's burning because they're caught on fire, they will deal extra damage to them. And it's just a lot of kind of min-maxing, honestly. And what Danny also said is mess with those passive Pictos skills, because you can start each round with maybe 5 extra skill points, or you'll always get the first strike. I built an amazing, and this is kind of funny, you might like this, might not. There's an auto death ability you can equip. Oh. And there is a death bomb ability you can equip. So, you know what I did? I equipped auto death and death bomb on one of my characters, who I thought was very weak. And the start of every battle, poor dude would explode, and he would kill everybody. So, like, that's kind of...
Just put a kamikaze bomber on your own squad.
What was that? Like, you found that while doing side quests, or that was like in a...
No, it was just exploring. So that's the other thing with exploration is...
Because I don't have that.
Oh my God, Danny. And then there's another perk where you can it gives AP to everybody in your group.
Oh, so I got that.
And then you can just like revive the person. So like, it's just such a helpful thing. But to answer your question before I get completely sidetracked, yeah, Rhea, like put it on easy mode so you don't have to worry about the dodge and the parry so much, and just try to figure out what character combinations work best. Always take advantage of the free aim, of getting the first strike, and eventually you'll figure out what works for you. And explore a lot, because you get rewards. You get these extra color of Lumina, I think is what they're called, and it gives you extra points to allocate to your Picto skills. And yeah, also grind if you can. It's fun. Oh,
yeah, not only that, when you go to your camp, you also, it is important to talk to your characters so you can build up like their relationship, and it's better also for other things, for like bonding, if they're like working together, like fighting against enemies and bosses and stuff. So it is important to do that. Yeah. Also, when you're at the camp too, there's a character that you will go and talk to that will help you to upgrade your weapons. I've been upgrading my weapons like crazy. Like, I've been going nuts with that too, so, and it's been helping me to also fight enemies because of that too. Like some of my characters, their weapons, oh my God, like I hit an enemy, I'm attacking an enemy, and it's like 9,099, like max.
Yes,
that happens a lot.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really good.
Get wrecked.
But guess what? When you see their health, it's like 1% of their health. Like, what? It feels.
I gotta break this guy.
Yeah, it feels like it's a lot, but then I'm like, wait a minute, that's it?
Yeah, I will say too, Reed, like this game is forgiving in a sense. Like I said earlier, if you do croak in the middle of battle, they're like, okay, you're right here. But also, there's a lot of banners around, and these are kind of, Elden Ring, the campfires. These are just kind of banners, right? And every time I'm sure you saw this in your preview. Every time you go there, you can rest, and fully restores everything that you need, and it saves the game also. So if you do find a good spot that's kind of like, ooh, I know I'm probably going to get absolutely destroyed by this guy, but like that's okay, there's a banner right here, go for it, come back, revive, whatever. Or if you're like, oh, this is a good grinding spot, Danny, I found a spot where I'm getting 70,000 XP per fight, and I can wrap up each fight in under a minute. You can just keep spawning. You can call your camp anytime you want. So it's really forgiving in that way, but it definitely is a little bit more difficult and tactical. Was that the word I'm looking for? Whatever, doesn't matter. But I'm also playing on normal, so I could bump it down. But even my experience on normal has been challenging, but not I'm slamming my head against the wall.
Okay, that's good to hear, because like I'm super, super intrigued by it, as we've all been saying, and I was worried that it would be too hard or too sloggy for my liking. But this is encouraging. This is making me feel like it's not.
Yeah, and it also depends on how much grind you do in the game too. Like me, I'm just going straight. Sometimes I'll do little side quests here and there, but it's been helpful.
Put in the work, Danny. Put in the work.
Hey, I'm putting the work. Hey, I've been sweating like crazy playing this game, man.
Every text I get from Danny, it feels like this game is so hard. These bosses are so tough.
It's crazy. It is crazy. Now, Brittney, I wish I could talk about the characters. Is there any characters from the early ones
Like starting lineup,
the starting ones that you like so far, that you have them as like your first lineup?
I like all the characters, and this is something again that I just freaking love about this game. Is first of all, this game is gorgeous, from the CG scenes to like the in-game shenanigans to the music, the beautiful, heart-wrenching music. It's just beautiful. All the characters I think are so well done. The acting on it is so freaking good. The facial expressions, they're all so different, and they all are so unique. And I just love the amount of banter that's been thrown into this game. I love when you're at the camp and you can talk to everybody and you can watch. The writing is hilarious. There's a lot of like fourth wall, I feel like, writing, which is kind of funny. You'll be reading the stuff, would be like, so-and-so talked to so-and-so, and they were really pissed about it. I'm like, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, for being such a gorgeous, like, fantasy, kind of the story, it's a sad premise, right? There's a lot of moments of levity. The characters do lighten up the mood, and watching them interact is just, like, incredibly entertaining. So when it comes to characters, without spoiling anything, I mean, I love them all. Like, every character I'm heavily invested in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, my second question, what is it that you like? What type of powers or skills that you like from those characters, that you have them as like your first group?
Yeah. So
yeah, because it is important. It helps. It helps for your battling with enemies and bosses.
So every character definitely has their own skill tree. So this is something we haven't really talked about. And there's a lot of the skills at first glance. It reminds me of D&D, because a lot of them kind of look the same, but then you kind of read the fine print, like what do they do and like what are their passives? And you're like, oh, this would pair really well with this. So I love Luna because she's kind of like the mage, is what I would say. She has a lot of different options to do fire, electricity, ice, and earth. Mm-hmm. And then obviously like your tank. I love my tank so much. And then I kind of go off between Ciel and Mael. That's her name.
I love Mael.
Yeah. Her combat's really interesting because she has these different stances that she can do, and depending on which stance you're in, you'll get certain buffs, and then you'll get certain AP bonuses. So you kind of have to figure out what works. And this is why the combat is so good. I like that, but honestly, like my strategy at this point is use the attacks that attack everybody at once, and try to break them, because I am at the point now where I have a really nice variety of skills between all of my characters, so I'm able to usually figure out where the weakness is really soon, and then I can exploit it, and then I feel like a Hulkin badass.
Ree, you have any other questions?
Yeah, like I know we're dumping praise on this game, and it sounds like it deserves, but what are some of the sticking points? Like, what are some things that you're still trying to not get past as far as progression, but what are some things that are maybe a little less successful so far, but you're playing it regardless?
Yeah, I'll tell you one.
Yeah.
For me, I love to explore, right? But sometimes I will get lost. Because there's certain areas. There's some areas that looks the same, so I'm thinking, oh, this is a new path, and then we're like, wait a minute, I've been there before. So I wish there was like a map system when you go inside to like an area, right? When you go outside of the area, there is a map, and I wish it was like that for both things, not just when you get out of, like, I think it's called the continent. Yeah. That's the part that is just really annoying. And also for me, Brittney, I have a ultra wide screen, so I try to play this game ultra wide, and I can't because when I start playing it, it looks great. For some reason, once after I finish a combat, it zooms in, and when I have another combat, sometimes I can't read the thing that I need to do, like the attacks or the spells, because it's like it's so zoomed in. Yeah, and also one of the characters has a weapon that blocks also certain parts of like your skills that you while you're in battle, which I think they should fix that. There's like little bugs which they might fix that eventually. It's not something that's gonna like completely make me stop playing the game. I figured out about the ultra wide screen. I made it smaller, and it's a lot better. Because of that.
Yeah, I think you hit one of mine, which is the exploration. So I'm pretty sure I read that this was super intentional, but there's no roll HUD when you're playing. Like, there's nothing on your screen, right? And it's because you are supposed to be this expedition exploring this continent for, the first time for your expedition, and you don't really know much about it. So from that idea, I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like, I can see that. Very immersive that way. But there's no map. There's no breadcrumbs. So you're just kind of, you kind of like come to 3 different paths, and you're like, am I going to go left? Am I going to go right? So I'm at the point now where I will like make a marker. Say, okay, weird looking tree. I'm going to go that way. And then I remember the tree. And then when I come back and I see that tree again, I'm like, okay, I remember that. So you can get turned around. And I would encourage anyone who's playing this, don't stop a play session right in the middle of a map, because you're going to come back not knowing where the heck you were going or what you were doing, because you are going to want to explore every nook and cranny, because you are going to find journals from other expeditions. You are going to find upgradable materials. You will find some good stuff. So you absolutely want to explore, but just keeping track of where you're going can sometimes get a little frustrating and tedious. The other thing is there's no journal system in the sense that, or quest tracking system. So you might talk to somebody and they're like, hey, if you go over there and fight these things and get me these things, I will give you some neats. And you're like, okay, cool, love that. But you go there and you get wiped immediately. You're like, I am too weak for this. But then you might forget about it 10 hours in. And you're like, oh, because there's nothing there to remind you that it was a thing. So in my phone, I have a notepad where I'm keeping track of all these bosses that are kicking my butt and all these things I want to end up doing that I don't want to forget about. So that's that. And there's no way to mark your map, which I think they could have worked that in, right? Like make it, give yourself a map or a journal where you can scratch stuff down, because that's what an expedition would do, right? Yeah. But there's no way to do that. So you have to look at the map and be like, okay, that island there has that thing, which is really tough. I'm going to come back to that, but it's easy to forget about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like little small things like that. Like the way how it helped me to explore, and because like sometimes I feel like that I'm like completely lost. I'm not doing anything in the game. The thing that helps me is when I hear the characters, they start talking. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I think I'm in the right area. Let me continue around here, right? Because, man, sometimes I feel like I'm just going in circles in certain areas. Especially not all places.
Especially if you rest at a flag and then all the enemies come back, then there's no way to know if you're in the right spot, or is this a new area or not a new area.
Yeah, it throws you off.
It does throw you off, yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. Anything else, Ree?
No, I mean, those are like the main questions, because like really I'm just trying to judge, like, do I want to get more invested, right? And the combat and like the min-maxing of it sounds super, super intriguing and really fun. I do remember from my time with the demo that the satisfaction you get when you hit those QTEs perfectly, that is a sweet, sweet feeling. I loved that. And the fact that there are even more aspects to the dodging and the parrying than what I've already seen in my playthrough. I'm really excited to see more of that. But like to your points, I have to pause unexpectedly a lot when I'm playing. I don't have the best memory anymore. I have lots of game notebooks for certain games like Blueprints, but for a game like this, like I didn't know I had to bring that, and I had to prepare to basically chart my own course like I was in a real expedition. So these are all good things to know that will probably make it less frustrating. So thank you, because like I don't want to miss this one, but I am worried that it's going to be really hard for me to play it.
Yeah, another thing we forgot to mention too, what I love is also there's certain parts when you're like attacking an enemy or a boss where you need to jump, that you'll see like this symbol. It's like a yellow
like
symbol, flashy symbol.
Thingy, yeah.
Yeah. So when you see it, you jump and then you press the R trigger. and it attacks the enemies. Oh my god, it's the best feeling in the world.
Another one of those parry systems.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that's the other thing too is you're gonna you have to learn the enemy's strategy, right? And so you might have to fight a boss a couple of times. Like I've taken on enemies that were way above my pay grade, but because I had learned and I'd gotten really good at the dodging, I was able to take him down, get really incredible loot, and it was super duper rewarding.
Yeah.
I know we're not going to talk too much about the story because obviously we're not, but I just want to say the story is really good. Like it's so it's so unique, and it's the kind of story I feel like I'm watching an unpredictable scary movie in the sense that my mind is always, what's going to happen? What's the theory? Who's the bad guy? Who's the good guy? Like how did this happen? And it's literally the first game in a very long time that has me on my toes, yelling at the TV, saying, I knew it, or oh my God, what the... Danny and I have had some texts back and forth.
Oh, I'll text Brittney. I'll be like, Brittney, oh my God, what the hell's going on?
That's why I'm just really trying to... And I think this game was, $50? So that's why... And, I'm 30 hours and I probably have another 30 hours in. So, I mean, 60 hours, $50. This game is so unique and they're doing so many things so well, from the voice actors to the characters to the story to the combat. The exploration reminds me of old Final Fantasy games where you uncover, the airship or the chocobos, and finally you can get into new areas, and it's just, this sense of wonder. It's so good and so different from most things we've seen that I'm like, yes, please support this, please play it. It's scratching an itch that I didn't really know I had, and it's, oh God, yes.
Yeah, I do want to mention, I know that this game might be considered a AA game, but it feels way more than that. It feels like a AAA, big iconic game. I'm like, man, this is like Final Fantasy level, like that type of thing, So
my expectations have been met and then surpassed.
Yeah,
and if I'm not mistaken, this is an original IP, right? This is the first time we've heard anything from this lore, this universe, this world, right?
So. Yeah.
So I just want to give a quick shout out to how many games are doing that this year and knocking it out of the park. I already mentioned one earlier, Blueprints, but this is, it seems like it's in an early game of the year contention for some categories, maybe overall for people.
And only that soundtrack too.
Oh God.
Yeah. And voice acting. I could see multiple awards for this game.
That soundtrack especially, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful. These cutscenes are just gorgeous. I mean, so incredibly beautifully animated. And then they have this music in the background that feels intentional and has purpose. And man, the waterworks get going sometimes. Oh.
Yeah. Even when you're walking around exploring, you hear this music coming in. I'm like, oh my God. Hey, let me tell you, if they ever release a vinyl version of this, I'm all in. I'm buying it. It's really good. It's very relaxing too. It's not stressful. Yeah. But there's also some tracks during battle that I'm like, yo, this is intense.
Yeah.
This is intense. The beat is like, woo. I'm ready for it.
I know. I want this soundtrack for sure. I want this. Is that on Spotify? I want it on Spotify.
Is it? I gotta double check.
Whatever it is,
should be.
You know what I'm playing.
Yeah, it's really good.
While we're handing out flowers, shout out to the animation team, because there is one enemy in particular that I saw Danny fighting against yesterday that has this little wiggle that it does when it gets agitated.
Yeah.
It was so freaking cute. And when the enemies, they stalk you as you're running around in the map. They'll try to start following you, and they hey, you want to fight, right? And some of them, when they start walking up to you, it is the most aggressive.
They're
approach.
very aggressive. Yeah,
it is so fun. I had a lot of fun just watching Danny walk around, and to the point, the story seems lots of tragedy. Everybody dies every year, but it has a lot of humor. It has a lot of levity to it, and I think that is a great balance and really hard to do. So again, so many kudos to the team over at Sandfall. I think you guys made something really special here, and I can't wait to dive in and get to the point where I'm texting these two and be like, okay, I see the thing you were talking about. Oh my God.
I can't wait. Oh my God.
I believe
we should do a spoiler cast someday.
We should. I believe this is 30 people that worked on this. I believe.
Small
That's
team.
it?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
I think it was 30 people. So yeah, that's a small team and still came out great.
Shizaballs.
Yeah.
I mean, dang. I did not realize that it was that small of a team. Wow. I mean, even more impressive.
I mean, that's why I mentioned that it's a AA game, because it's the amount of people that worked on it. There hasn't been
games are taking it this year. I feel like
more than
really,
AAA, more than AAA. Yeah,
we're all kind of just craving something a little different, a different experience, and this is absolutely delivering. You mentioned Blueprints, which is I think the next game I'm going to try playing.
Ooh, I can't wait to talk to you about that one.
Yeah.
And I believe this game is also going to be on Xbox Game Pass.
I saw that too.
That's
Game Pass is what a wealth.
That's
over
huge.
there.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Make sure to check it out. So yeah, Brittney, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You know, doing this
Oh
review.
wait, release date.
Oh yeah.
Release date
April
yeah,
24.
April 24. So we're posting the review the day before, and it's okay. It's not there's no conspiracy. The game is good. People say that. Oh, why they wait to the last minute? Times have changed.
Because they're being
They-
kind. They're being
Yeah.
kind to us reviewer folks.
Yeah, and not only that is also spoilers because people they don't.
Yes,
want
I think it is more so for the spoilers.
Yeah, because if the story is so good, you need to play it so your brain could be mind blown later on.
Like
It's
ours.
so good.
Oh,
Exactly. But Brittney, you can tell us anything that's coming up in the future, promote your channels, everything. Any
Okay.
content.
Well, yeah. Wow. What was that voice? I will be at. I will be at Summer Game Fest, so that will be fun. I'm very, very excited. I'll be doing my own thing. I'm sure I'll see all my girls there and my boy Danny. And if that one Paris guy is there, I'm gonna punch him.
Oh, damn. I'm gonna clip that for him. Just for him.
Absolutely do it. He talks big for someone who has to see me in person in a couple months, and then he just cowers like the little bitch he is. But no, anyway, yeah, I'm just kind of doing my own thing right now, doing some reviews from time to time, previewing games when I have the time. You know, life is busy, but it's good, and so I've enjoyed doing that. And this is the kind of game that that is a perfect example of the stuff why I'm excited to still do this stuff, right? Play these new experiences and talk about them and gush about them with amazing people like you. So yeah, I will be making content on my YouTubes, my websites, my social accounts at Blunderd. You can find why am I doing these weird accents? I always do this. Whatever.
This is your voice acting reel.
Yeah.
This is who I am. I'm Kermit. Okay, I'm done.
Well, Brittany, in the future, I hope we could record some stuff about Nintendo Switch too, and we probably could do it in person because it's right before Summer Game Fest, so we could do it
I
in person.
know. I'm still kind of upset about that, but that'll be fun.
It's all
I just
good.
want my Switch. Yeah, it'll be great. No,
It's all good.
absolutely. I love this. Have me on all the time, friends.
All right.
Jeff.
Well, social, where people can find you
Oh, at Blonde Nerd. The
There
nerd
you
that
go.
is blonde. That is me.
everywhere. Just look it
All
up.
of the places.
Yeah, awesome. All right, Rihanna. Anything else? We're good.
No. Yeah, find me and all my shenanigans at the Riana MP on all platforms, and popping up on GTR whenever I can.
Yeah, and
even
make
if
sure-
it's just because I'm nervous about playing a game that sounds really hard.
It's all
Fair,
good.
honestly.
Make sure to check out the review from Rihanna and Paris of Blueprints that is on the Gamertag Radio. Make sure to check it out. Really cool. All right, until next time, everyone. We're out. Peace.
Bye.